watch it burn. It's time to detonate. If it's to be, it's up to me. It's up to me. So dig down deep, and let it blow. TNT. Gotta spark the fuse in me. Today, not tomorrow. Today, not tomorrow. No, no, no. TNT. Ignite the world we seek. Today, not tomorrow. Today, not tomorrow. 3, 2, 1.
Ever since the beginning of time, there's always been shade trying to steal our shine like Magellan. Believed in his hope was the wind that took him around the globe. While he got spherical, let me get lyrical. It always takes faith to make it a miracle. They refuse to believe that you can fuse the light, but that's my Edison. Took the dark out the night, maybe the medicine ain't about wrong or right, cause whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. If you tryna be fly, then you best be right, cause those brothers are accredited with the first flight. Whatever you think, you're right. You right. Whatever you believe, it's true. It's true. We choose who to become by what we think and do.
Even though the path is filled with the voice of self-doubt and tribulation, push ahead, you'll make it. I'm inclined to say, believe to achieve it. You can have it your way. Liberate and free it. Hold your faith. Be the change, call it into existence. Believe to achieve. Believe to achieve.
What's the steps to the stairway of success? Roger Bannister did it fastest, I guess. Instead of trying to make it work, some believe that it doesn't. 3-minute mile was impossible until it wasn't. Do you see the trend? You can't have faith if you know how it's gonna end. How they let the rocket boosters jettison, that propelled Armstrong boosters settle in. The surface of the moon with the flag planted. Now Renatus about to do the same thing. It's a new day, it's a new birth, it's a new you, it's a new earth. Whatever you think, you're right. You right. Whatever you believe, it's true. It's true. We choose who to become by what we think and do.
Even though the path is filled with the voice of self-doubt and tribulation, push ahead, you'll make it. I'm inclined to say, believe to achieve it. You can have it your dreaming and it's got your mind sitting in a waiting game, wrapped up in losing time. Well, I'm planning on getting around to it, maybe tomorrow or the next day. You got the brain, yeah, you got the mind, but you hesitate to leap. Say it with me now. I will work harder, I will be stronger. Believe me, I can make a change. The time is now to live it out. I know you know how. Tomorrow's built today. I will excrete it, I will excrete it, I will excrete it. Better than I do. I will excrete it, I will excrete it, I will excrete it. Better than I do. Every feel, ready to face them. Every action, ready to take it. Reaching out, believe me, I can make a change. I can make a change. The time is now to live it out. I know you know how. Tomorrow's built today. I will excrete it, I will excrete it, I will excrete it. Better than I do. I will excrete it, I will excrete it, I will excrete it. Better than I do. Time is now. Like soldiers pushing forward, blazing into the sea. We're taking the world by storm.
Check it, my life is mine to mold. I will rise with my eyes on the prize of gold. I'll find critics who mimic and spite my goals, but my vision is to rise, be alive and bold, achieve. I will believe, I will defeat any obstacles I meet. I will proceed, I will succeed, I will. And when you think I will, then I will scream, I will.
The time is
now, yeah,
to live it out. I know you know how.
right now.
Tomorrow's built today.
It's built today.
I will excrete it, I will
I
excrete it,
will. Come on,
I will excrete it, I will excrete it, I will excrete it.
let's go.
I will excrete it, I will excrete it,
I will.
I will excrete it, I will excrete it, I will excrete it.
Right now.
Excrete it.
Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. Takeoff Tuesday.
All right, Matthew,
See you
today
all.
is the day. Are you ready for this?
I am ready for this. GM. Sweet. All right, Takeoff Tuesday. We had an awesome call yesterday, recap call with Snyder and Jay on the Invest Edge, and wanted to make sure you guys know about Super Saturday, Super Sábado. So I included a link in the chat or in the text, and definitely be building for Super Saturday. There's a different way to build. Okay, by the way, this is the Zoom link right here for you guys to join. For all Renatus, no like team only kind of thing. In fact, we've never really done that. Other teams have come gone with that attitude. Notice the gone part. But we're around because we're here for Team Renatus. And so if you have considered marketing, you're an ICM, you want to get better at it, you are actively doing any of those, come and play Super Saturday with us. 9 a.m. to noon Mountain Time. And when you're bringing a guest, which I highly encourage because I've made a lot of money off of Super Saturdays, let them know the intent behind it, and everything is different. If they think you're coming to a real estate workshop and then all we talk about is ads and scripts and vision boards, it's going to erode the trust. So tell them, like I tell them, hey, on this event, you're going to learn the business behind the business, where we cover how to make 6 figures from home while building your real estate empire. It's a fantastic source of income. You get to be around real estate investors all the time, and it will definitely speed up your networking, your ability to build a business, the skills you need, and build your network. So come and see how it works. Last month, Gilda made 10 grand. The month before that, Steve made 10 grand. Linda made 25. Mitch made 52. You should really see how this works. Not everybody makes a lot of money, but the reason that our company is so successful is because we work 2 sides of a business, and I invite you to come take a look. It's 3 hours. It's Saturday on Zoom. And, great news is it's free. Sit back and watch and see what's covered, understand the systems. Some people last year, I still say this to people, some people last year made $250,000 just on the side while they were marketing Renatus, made $250,000. So come and see how that works. That's how you build for Super Saturday. Come see how it works. Come see the business behind the business. All right, quote of the day. It's not what you do once in a while, what you do day in and day out that makes the difference. Jenny Craig. That lady's helped a lot of people around the country and around the world. Anyway, yeah, it's working. Check your calendar. If you're coming to Super Saturday, please register yourself. I know Richard is also doing Super Saturday at the same time. Kind of a bugger with the schedule, but those of you who John Woody's offer to his is going to be on the 15th at corporate. They're doing some real estate drive boot camp, something. Okay. And anyway, we had to move it. So go to Richard. Come to mine, Mitch, and Maley's. Doesn't matter. But be at Super Saturday. Don't skip. I'm going to say it again because some of you are new and you don't know. I have gone to 100 and almost 50, you bet if I counted, but 140 Super Saturdays since I've been around. Okay. I've gone to a lot. Let's see. No, pushing like 175 Super Saturdays. So if you've been to a few and you're like, oh, well, I went to one. That's nice. It'd be like, picking up the weights one time. How big are your muscles going to get if you picked up a weight one time? Go to Super Saturday, make it a regular. It's all about skill development, skill sets, and getting better. Also, the Genius in 21 Days Renatus membership workshop. Here's what, in a nutshell, what Cosmo is going to go over. At this event, you will 10x your real estate business and retain more of the Renatus that Renatus truly provides. English is funny, huh? Retain more of the knowledge Renatus truly provides. I'll put the truly over here. Truly retain more, but it doesn't even need to be. Really. Anyway, retain more of the knowledge Renatus provides, speed up real estate business by 10. So that is mañana, tomorrow, 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Mountain Time. Just make sure that's in the chat for everybody. Come to it. Come see how the heck he's memorizing stuff in different languages. So there's that for you. One thing I've always told new students is that real estate is its own language. You have to, like day one in the classes is vocab. What is the definition of these terms? So it is a whole new language. And if you haven't learned some of the stuff that Cosmo is offering, show up to that tomorrow. Bring a guest too if you want. Let them know. That's really what it comes down to is setting proper expectations for your guests. Awesome. Okay, now, real quick, we're going to go over the self-confidence formula, and then we will turn it over to our trainer for the hour. So glad he's here. Day in and day out, year in and year out. All right, number one, here we go. Self-confidence formula. First, I know I have the ability to achieve the object of my definite purpose in life. Therefore, I demand of myself persistent, continuous action towards its attainment, and I here now promise to render such action. Second, I understand that the dominating thoughts of my mind will eventually reproduce themselves in that physical action and gradually transform themselves into physical reality. Therefore, I will concentrate my thoughts for 30 minutes daily upon the task of thinking of the person I intend to be, thereby creating in my mind a clear mental picture of that person. Third, I know through the principle of autosuggestion, any desire that I persistently hold in my mind will eventually seek expression through some practical means of attaining the object or position I desire. Therefore, I will devote 10 minutes daily to finding in myself the development of self-confidence. Fourth, I've clearly written down a description of my definite chief aim, and I will always work to develop sufficient self-confidence for its attainment. Fifth, I fully realize that wealth or position can long endure when built on truth and justice. I will engage only in transactions that benefit all whom it affects. I will succeed by attracting to myself the forces I wish to use and the cooperation of other people. I will induce others to serve me because of my willingness to serve them. I've eliminated hatred, envy, jealousy, selfishness, cynicism, and I've developed a love for all humanity, for I know that a positive attitude towards others will always bring me success. I will cause others to believe in me because I believe in them and in myself. I will sign my name to this formula, commit it to memory, and repeat it aloud once a day with full faith that it will gradually influence my thoughts and actions, so I will become a self-reliant and successful person. GM. This one right here, this line right here, I think is another attribution to my Renatus sales success. I believe in others so much so that I cause belief in them and them to believe in me. I know they're going to succeed if they follow our system. And yep, I have overwhelming evidence for it. So anyway, hopefully you guys are practicing this, memorizing it, doing the thing that says to. I got one last resource for you. I put together a Calendly link so that you guys can hit me up when needed. Please, if you are an ISN member, then it's definitely for you. But like I said earlier on the call, I'm not trying to box anyone out. But if you need mastermind time, you need help with a prospect, you need funding options for your leads, you need, how to perfect your presentation, how to, whatever you need, how to set up a Calendly if you want. Use my Calendly link here. Let's get connected. I didn't put a restriction on there. I know you could put like once a month people can. I didn't put any restrictions on there. Just use it. I'm excited to connect with you guys and support you. And give it to ICMs as they need it. And Don, I got you. I got the doc, the self-confidence formula doc right here. So now you got my Calendly link, the Super Saturday link, self-confidence formula link. Let's get to work. There's people out there asking for this opportunity but don't know we exist. It's time to call them, knock on the door, make a post, do something to find them, and get them in the program so they can get the benefits that we're currently getting. Sweet. Talking about benefits, one of the huge benefits is that we get to spend Tuesdays with Mr. Bill Predebon. So those of you who are new to the call, our trainer for the day has completely revolutionized his life. In fact, before joining our training program, he was running and gunning, doing his best, but unfortunately, because of a lack of knowledge, lack of experience, he found himself in massive amounts of debt, headed towards bankruptcy, businesses failing, looking like a failure. It was tough for him. But you know what? Eyes on the prize. This man is resilient. He found our organization, started attending classes, In fact, the year he joined our program, he had only made $17,000 the entire year. So when someone presented this training program to clearly the cost was more than what he earned in a year, but he still found a way. When you're talking to other leads and other people, I don't have the money, you say, I get it. Let me tell you about Bill Predebon. Since getting involved, he's done a stack of short sales. He's done fix and flips, wholesaling, short-term rentals, long-term rentals, private money lending, new construction, subdivisions, commercial, coast to coast, and border to border, all over the nation, hundreds and hundreds of deals. But one thing I admire about him is his attention to detail. When he's listening to the scenario of a deal, he knows how to negotiate to make it a win-win for everybody. He's a great example of hard work, determination, and getting educated to make a difference. So let's give a big warm welcome to the man of the hour, Mr. Bill Predebon. GM, Bill, good to see you. And welcome everybody else who just joined the call.
What's up,
Welcome to Takeoff Tuesday.
You hear me okay?
Loud and clear. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, buddy. So
What's
looks like you're back in Michigan. How was your Phoenix trip?
Phoenix was quick. I mean, I was only there for it was a lot of work. I was there to so I had to take that large 5-bedroom, 3-bath, and I had to take out all the furniture to rent it out. The guy didn't want it rented, furnished.
Huh.
So I had to
Okay.
hire a truck, and then I had to pack the whole kitchen and the linens and everything, which is no big deal. I mean, I it's just all part of it. I mean, it really wasn't something I could hire out. I mean, I probably could have, but there's no need to. I mean, a lot of it's our personal stuff that we left in there for it to be a fully custom rental. But I still got $9,000 a month for it. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
yeah,
Good for you, man.
yeah, so he just so yeah, I just had to take care of that and meet the movers on that Monday, and then get a storage unit. I just got a drive up storage unit. So yeah, still
Man,
getting the
$9,000 a month. So someone is paying
on. What's that?
110,000 a year to rent the house from you.
Yeah, that's my highest rental. I mean, it would if I
Wow.
did it Airbnb, I'd probably make up one. We could make up to 140 on it if it was maximized, but I'm good with the longer term rental.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I got to figure it out. I might use Guesty to maximize some of the short-term rentals. I've been working with them. I just haven't completed it. It's a big transition to take, but yeah. So that was good. Back in Michigan, I think we're gonna head to Arizona on Friday. We're gonna drive out and then spend a couple months in Arizona, and then come back here for Christmas, and then maybe head to Florida. I'm not really sure. It's kind of up in the air still. Maybe head down to Florida and check out Sarasota area again and see if we want to buy down there. I haven't really
Sweet.
spent a winter in Florida before.
Yeah, I'm going to Tampa and Sarasota the first week of December.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, Cosimo's doing a big old event and I don't want to miss it. So I'm gonna go spend the weekend with him. And yeah, it's gonna be awesome. Let's explore a little of Florida. Perfect time, right? December. Everything is dead in the garden. And so yeah, let's go play in the Florida's the Sunshine State, right?
It
That's what
is.
they call it? Sunshine State? Okay.
You're gonna be in Chicago, Bill, in January, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, so
Yeah,
I'll
I'll
make
be in
sure.
Chicago for the intensive on, I think, January 17th.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. We'll see you in person then.
Yeah, that'll be
Hey,
fun.
that'd be
Mhm.
awesome.
I think
Yeah.
Sherry's going to come with me.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, that'll be cool to be down there and check out. I haven't been downtown Chicago in a while.
Yeah, it was actually because I tried to avoid downtown because of I mean, it's not really where the good area. It's, there's a lot happening in not so good area. But I went there, attended my one of my friends turned 60 Saturday and had a party, and then her son is actually a manager at Trump Tower, so they had a room. They were gonna have us a room there, but Dave and I, we decided we're just gonna come home, and they're very nice. And I was like, man, I forgot how pretty this downtown is. So because since the COVID, we haven't really been down there much at all. So, but yeah, it's a great city, but
Yeah,
a lot of stuff to do.
for sure.
Yeah.
All right, so let's kick it off. That's awesome. Yeah, I can't wait. Yeah, I'll be in. Where's that doc? Where's that doc?
It was the self-confidence for the docs. I just
Oh,
dropped it in the form.
I'm just checking. Okay, so cool. Anybody got anything, questions, thoughts, comments? Shout it out, come off mute, whatever you want to do. Say hi, introduce yourselves, whatever you want to do. In the meantime,
Yeah,
yeah,
no, a few of you are working on deals too. So if you got questions for Bill, now's the time. He outside of Renatus charges $1,000 an hour. So definitely be picking his brain while we have him. This is a privilege and a pleasure. So thank you, Bill.
yeah, for sure. Thank you. Thanks for hosting this. This is great to see everybody. E3 was awesome. It's nice, sometimes when we disconnect or we spend too much time away, it's good to reconnect in a live event. There's a lot of energy, and boy, there's a lot of new people in Renatus for sure that you haven't met before, so that's cool. And a lot of people are excited, when they come in at what the future holds and what Renatus offers. We kind of get immune to it, and we start, it rubs off, and the newness does, and we get back into a routine, and so sometimes that breaks up the routine. So whatever you can do, I think, to break up the routine and challenge yourself is good. Um, I do appreciate having a coach. I think a coach is a great opportunity for everybody. And I know sometimes it seems like a waste of money, especially when you can't really monetize it, if that's the right word. You can't really see what you're paying for. Like, because I would imagine it's like counseling or therapy of any kind. Even the gym, when you go to the gym, you definitely don't see results and we're such an result driven country and society and by nature, I guess, human nature. And so these are long processes. Uh, and so when it comes to selling or not, it's similar. Like there's very rarely is there instant. I think with the 90-day fix and flip, if first flip challenge now, and then Jared has the wholesaling challenge. You can see some results. For some people can in a shorter period of time, if you will, um but for the most part, it's definitely a journey. Anyway, uh it's pretty cool. There are a lot of instructors there. um the way they're doing the E3s now, um it's that is pretty valuable, even if you get a few minutes of time with them. It's so funny. I guess I'm an instructor, but I don't view myself that way. Like, you know what I mean? These guys are still, and girls are still on a platform that's just so phenomenal. I mean, the likes of Jeff Armstrong and Chris Albin and Chris Wilson and these attorneys and, some of these keynote speakers. I mean, Bob surrounds himself with some pretty impressive people that have done quite a bit in their life. So it's nice. Anyway, so go ahead. Like I said, any thoughts? Here's a couple thoughts. I can keep going unless you guys girls are thinking of anything. But God, it's this audience is always like Michael's on focus. He can pretty much hit anybody at any time with what he teaches on and what he trains on, which is mainly marketing and little mindset, things like that. Obviously, I bring a different spin to it. But I guess it really doesn't. In my head, I'm thinking, we're all in different worlds. And in reality, we are, I guess, when it comes down to looking at um, the micro picture. But on the macro side of things, we're kind of all the same. It doesn't matter where we are in real estate or business or Renatus or life. Everybody has, I think, obstacles, challenges. Everybody has time constraints. For the most part, I mean, I don't know that any of us are retired necessarily on this call. So, we're still trying to figure out what the end's going to look like. And, not that we're going to quit working, but just whatever that looks like and how to get there. So in that regard, we are kind of all on the same page. The more I've been doing this, God, there's just so much to think about. I do like the idea of if you're not going to stay in your lane, then I think it's important to find, to either learn about the new lane you're going to try to go down, the new investment avenue, the new strategy, the change of pace you're going to take. Either follow someone who's doing it right. And if you can't find someone to do it right, then you've got to, I would say, learn it first, if that makes sense. If you want any clarification on that, I mean, specifically, I'm just talking about, changing up your investment strategies. I'm definitely thinking about, or, referring to, looking to take on challenges that we're not familiar with, that we don't teach here in Renatus, opening businesses, things like that. I mean, they're definitely positives to it, and they're definitely great opportunities, but, seek out advice. Anyway, that's one thing. I really like the idea, and I'm sure everybody's on the same page. The more I go through this, and I've gone through this when the crash happened is when I started, right? And it's tough. It's easier said than done. But when the old company, Bob did very well from my understanding. I don't know a lot of the details, and I say Bob, but Bob and his partner, I don't know if you all know this, but they started a network marketing company called Travel Dynamics, TD, in the late 90s. When 9/11 hit, it pretty much eliminated that company, but they used to take TD all over the world. And they did very well. But for whatever reason, the industry was hit with something unforeseen, right? Unbelievable what happened. And then they, looked to the real estate trend. I'm not sure how that was created. I don't recall. I know they were brokering. I don't know if you know this too, but it was pretty cool. They were brokering other instructors. You've probably heard, if you've been around a minute, you probably have heard Bob tell the story to some extent in his presentation when he does the epic, and he talks about instructional systems design, the way we educate people through our college classes, or I can't say college, through our educational classes, our practitioner instructor classes. The ISD is based on University of San Diego teaching, how most colleges build upon other classes. Anyway, that came about because they used to broker gurus. I got to remember where I'm going with this damn story. So they used to broker gurus. I know where I'm going with it. I remember. Okay.
We're talking about TD.
Yeah. Well, I was going from TD to the old company before it was Renatus. It was pretty cool. They, like I said, I don't know how Renatus came about or how the old company came about, except for the fact that they were brokering. They would set up the venue, right? They would take a commission off of the sales that were generated in front of the room. And so they would book this room for these gurus, and these gurus would come in and sell, and they would crush it. And Bob and Jim made a lot of money brokering the deal, right? Taking a commission, taking a cut of whatever was sold in the front of the room. And they would bring 5, 10 speakers in, whatever it was, 3, 4, 5 over the course of a weekend, selling all different kinds of programs and upsells and all that stuff. And these people would credit card it in the back of the room, and it was a great program. But Bob did do a poll. They did it a couple times, and he realized that it was pretty ineffective, that a lot of people weren't doing deals. They were just buying education. And so he cut it at the throat, right? He cut the head off the dragon, and stopped the whole deal in the middle of making all this money to go and make it a better program. And that's how his old company came about. But what I was getting at is, I saw it back then when I first was around, and it was in the transition of the crash of 08, 07, 08. And a lot of leaders I looked up to, and it's not no fault of their own. It just is what it is. I mean, people run a business and that's their lane, and they stayed in it. They didn't spend a lot of time getting educated. They didn't spend a lot of time. I will tell you, the people that I knew that bought property, they bought it at retail, right? They were making enough money. They knew that they should get some property. They kind of bought what you would call turnkey rental properties, very, very over leveraged, not very creative financing at all. No really thought into it. It was really based on a appreciating kind of concept, one that's not really even taught, right? It's assumed. And so those people that did have property lost them. They lost them all. I know people that lost dozens of properties that were in the old company that were making good money doing the marketing. The marketing was a bit a different animal back then. There was definitely no compliance. But I witnessed everybody fall financially. And the majority of them, if not all of them that I knew across the country that I had met in the quick short year or two that I was around before they, I mean, people hung on, right? They're hanging on to the tree with one hand, like that cat that you see all the time. I don't remember what the caption is underneath the cat. Hanging there, maybe is what it was called. And they would hang on. They hung on to their offices that they had. Everybody had flashy offices for the meetings and the epics and the events. We were even paying for hotels in 08 and 09. The owners, Bob and his partner, were coming up with new ways to sell. We had 3-day events. We were spending tens of thousands of dollars on hotels for events and stuff like that. And it was everybody was hanging on. They held on for a long time. I got to know a lot of people, even though it was inevitable what was going to happen. The few people that stood around owned real estate, and they bought it correctly. And Bob was one of them. I got to tell you, his partner wasn't. I had to coach his partner on how to do short sales, and he owned a real estate investing education company. And so I guess the point is, when I look, I've been around, what I've found is, I don't know. There was a point for the first really 7 years that I was involved in real estate that I didn't buy rental property. I look back, I regret it. I didn't think I could, right? I think I thought I had to make money. I didn't have a coach. All I was focused on was making a ton of money to pay off debt, to get ahead, not even get ahead, but just to get out from under whatever it was I was in. Everything I made, there was a time when I started to make good money. 2000, my wife and I, 2011, like 3-4 years in, I was pretty much above water at that time. I was at ground zero at least. no longer negative. I still was negative in those two properties I had that we bought as primary residences, the one we lived in. But I was able to settle, some of the debt and pay all the debt off. And we started to buy some furniture for the house. I mean, we had a big house, 3,000-foot house that we didn't have barely any furniture in. And I'm not trying to tell you guys a story. I'm trying to get to a point here. Um, but I think if whatever it is you believe in for your retirement, for your hedge against inflation, and my assumption would be the majority of us believe in real estate, rental property. I've come to learn that rental property that we buy doesn't necessarily going to be the properties we die with or we pass on. Um, but whenever you can, and I remember like the first property we bought as a rental, Sherry was pretty adamant about going. She was tired of Arizona and she was pretty adamant about getting to California, and she was making good money again. And, good money, not the money she's accustomed to, but we were back making some money, and we looked at the property and we did an analysis, and she figured she's like, if it goes vacant, I can pay $2,000 a month to it. This is her telling me this. So I did a formula on how to figure that out and what to buy and how to make it work. So if we didn't rent it out or we wanted to go there for the month, then we could afford it. And we made it work. And that rental was a blessing. Not only for a vacation to take every couple times a year, but to rent out for tax benefits, and the appreciation in Southern California next to the beach was I mean, we loved that property. It was a townhouse. So my point is even when you didn't think you can buy rentals, you should buy them. Whatever it is that if you listen to Dave Ramsey, which has some pretty cool stuff, for the majority of the people, right? Not people that are paying into Renatus and trying to create their own freedom, right? Financially, but the people that, may never have that opportunity. When two young kids get out of college, they're making, 40, 50,000 a year, man. If they put 40%, 30% of their income away, but prior to taxes, they're fine by the time they're 40. Most people don't do that, but they sacrifice. And in Renatus, you sacrifice when you have an opportunity to buy something right. It's hard. It's hard to imagine taking it down and I'm not advising do it stupidly or put yourself at risk. Like you've heard me say, we've got to have money to cover these rentals, but you can stress yourself out. You can reduce your travel. You can reduce your expenses. You can reduce your pleasures for a while we go through this process. The point I'm making, I'm going to get to these couple comments here. The point I'm making is that what I've seen over the last 15, 18 years with real estate is I was just talking to some of my buddies that were in a mastermind in Phoenix too. Some of the guys that I know that came out from nothing. Elijah, for one of them, a wholesaler. He became the fire king, bought a lot of firehouses and wholesaled. He's thrived, and he's at a point in his life where it's pretty good. He's younger than me too, quite a bit. They hold property. They held it right. They created some wealth, and for me, it's been a blessing. You can leverage that property. You can sell that property when things, when you want to expand your empire, when you want to invest in new companies, when you want to invest in a startup, when you want to start up a company, when you want to expand your ability. There's a lot of opportunity when you have the backing, but you've got to create it, if that makes sense. Yeah, so we can go into this. So Tim said, did I go through any bankruptcies? So I will tell you, and then we can hit Don's comment too. He said, don't be paralyzed. So he can expand on that. I filed bankruptcy in 2006. I owned 4 Play It Again sports stores. We sold one. Again, I don't know what it is, and it's probably just me. It's probably ignorance and whatever it is. There's definitely a point, a little bit there, but we were doing pretty well. But in 2004, the crash really what hadn't started happening in California, in Southern California, 2004, 5, and 6, the market was going crazy. I mean, I don't know if you guys can imagine. I was trying to buy my very first house at 34 years old, and we would go see a house, and we would have to drive back to the realtor's office and fax in an offer. And by the time they got my offer, they already had 3 cash offers on it. I was financed. I had pretty good credit. Um, I didn't really have a down payment. I could have gotten one, but I was trying to do 100% financing. I was trying to get, them to like offer more money, and then they would pay back all the closing costs and stuff. So I was trying to be creative in buying the house, and anyway, all of a sudden, that war hit 2004. They shipped off about 250 troops out of Camp Pendleton, and Camp Pendleton was right by our Oceanside, California store. Oceanside did the 175,000 a month in sales just in one store. That store basically paid for all the bills, and their other 3 stores were gravy. I mean, we were doing like 2.5 million a year. It was okay. I mean, I wasn't a millionaire by any means at that time, but it's definitely doing well. But I didn't have any assets or anything. I just didn't have any debt. But the when that war happened and things started to change, that was the first thing. And they all the spouses they get the stipend for the housing when they get the deployment. When everybody else is out on deployment, their spouses are gone. So they move off site, they go stay with friends or family, and so they have no rent. They're not renting at Camp Pendleton anymore, but they still get the stipend. So they make even more money. So everybody was gone. Like our sales were cut in half, like almost overnight. And then you move in the crash of it started at about 06 in California. Arizona followed, and New Mexico, and not New Mexico, but Nevada and everything followed about a year, 18 months after California. And anyway, I filed bankruptcy on the advice of my attorney. I ended up giving the last store to my partner. I don't want to take up everybody's time. If you got we can talk about these projects here. We got a little extra time, so it's fine. But I'll tell you this. I didn't know anything about bankruptcy. I didn't have the bankruptcy class. I love that I have it now. I love that bankruptcy attorney that we have now even more. That guy's awesome. And I had a personal guarantee on a couple $1 million worth of stuff that we owed that we didn't pay back yet. We had some outstanding bills. What's interesting is that I was not really collectible. And you can always file bankruptcy after you get sued. Or when you get in trouble, right? If your house is going into foreclosure, you can create a bankruptcy. You can create a stay of foreclosure by filing bankruptcy, and you can create some options. You can buy some time. It doesn't necessarily first stop it from happening, but it can create opportunity. So I filed bankruptcy on his word, paid like $5,000 at the time for it. And maybe it was a little bit less, maybe it was like 3,500. And I should have never done it. I thought I could get that off my credit in 2 years. That didn't happen. It took 10 years, just like it normally does. Anytime I wanted to get a loan, I could still get loans and still get credit cards, but they were useless cards pretty much. And after bankruptcy, because you can't file it for another 7 years, but the loans were much more expensive than everybody else that would have good credit. So my credit would be good. And I still had the bankruptcy on the it's possible some companies can get rid of a bankruptcy, but it didn't happen. I paid many companies to try to fix it. So, when we went back into trouble after I come out, I filed bankruptcy. We're upside down on these 2 houses, to answer your question, Tim. There was a point where I had just brandly new gotten married, and things were just crashing around us, and we were in a lot of debt. I was borrowing money from her credit and thinking I was doing the right thing before I found Renatus, and filing bankruptcy was not an option, because then I would have had to file on her. So I figured there were two things to do, right? One was file bankruptcy or one was make more money. So I decided to make more money. Use the Renatus systems back then, the old company, sell the education and do real estate. And that's how I avoided bankruptcy, is I decided to work, 10, 12 hours a day, study as much as I possibly could, learn from everybody else, and use real estate and business to combine to get out of to stop from filing bankruptcy, to be able to pay off, negotiate and pay off debt, to pay down debt, to, I learned about how foreclosure process worked. I learned about the short sale process. I learned about bankruptcy process, and I was able to negotiate with the banks on behalf of her properties, that we owned those two properties, so I could eliminate the second mortgages in that crazy environment of the crash of 2008 to 2011. So I didn't file again, and I've never had to file again since. And I don't disagree with it. I think that some of the things that the instructors are teaching today, the bankruptcy attorney, if I think bankruptcy has its privileges, like American Express. Bankruptcy has its benefits. Bankruptcy is a strategy I think that smart business people use. And I would like to learn more about that. I always thought bankruptcy was something that someone did because they made dumb mistakes and ignorant mistakes with their finances, and they were, and they, it's something that, I don't know. It costs money, so it's something someone sells you. You got $15,000 of credit card debt, file bankruptcy. You got $15,000 of credit card, call this company, let them negotiate with the companies. That's just a waste of time. So it is a tool. You're exactly right, Steve. So yeah, I would say there's a lot to learn about bankruptcy. I think this new bankruptcy attorney is incredible, and I plan to contact his office in the next couple of weeks and learn a little bit about what he was talking about this last E3. He talked a little bit about it the first E3, and he went right into quite a bit into it this time. I think he's incredible, and in his company, so I think it's worth it. Yeah. I don't know exactly what it means. But I'll look to learn and find that out. But I think I don't think it means you be careless. And there's a lot of I think every case is different. There's a lot of things that you got to do. But in the meantime, to avoid that, I would definitely try to, we got to make more money at the end of the month than we need, so we can support our real estate habit, and we can invest in real estate, or whatever it is you want to invest in addition to real estate to create. But it's not difficult to do it when you don't have as much money at the end of the month. You can borrow it, you can raise capital, you can still do it when you're broke. You can still do it when you barely make ends meet with your income. But when it comes to holding property, then you put yourself up to another liability, right? It's nice when properties cash flow, but properties definitely, if they don't have their issues in the beginning, they'll definitely have their issues at the end. And typically, when we're buying cash flowing properties, we're not looking to put a lot of money into them, right? Because then they won't cash flow as much, or we don't have the money up front to fix them up front. And we definitely don't want to take a month's worth of cash flow or a year's worth of cash flow and fix something that isn't broken but needs attention. So then it continues to wear out, and then you're hit with an emergency, and you've got to put somebody up in a, there's a lot to do with it. So it does help to have more money at the end of the month, and that's why obviously marketing Renatus is one of those things. If you can make an extra 10 or 20 grand a year, or 30 grand a year by selling 2 or 3 combos, then you can put that aside. Typically, we're going to take it and go on vacation or whatever we're going to do. But if we're running a business for a few years, we could be a little bit more conservative. And, but sometimes you need that money too, to just get out of debt, pay off a credit card, catch back up, whatever it is. That's pretty normal, I think. So you make an extra 10, 20 grand and it's gone before you even get it in your account. That I don't know that ever stops happening for most people. I just don't know. There's times when I'm always, my accounts they fluctuate in tens and tens and tens and tens of thousands of dollars. They fluctuate. And there's a lot of times that there's a deficit, not enough. And so until you get to that point where you are you have a business that makes money without you working, which we're all thriving to do. So I don't know if Tim and Melanie want to expand on any of that properties, but
Oh, that's good. No, I just wanted to see kind of like what you were, if that, because I mean, right now, the way that the market's kind of been going, or what I've seen, some people, I've had a few projects that have gone, that where you think you're going to make money, and then all of a sudden, like the market kind of corrects a little bit, and so, or quite a bit, and so you think you're going to get a certain amount, but then you when it comes to selling, you have to sell it for 10% more or less than what you were anticipating, and it kind of wipes out whatever. And so some and so sometimes I just think like, well, if when it comes to all the stuff that you got with credit cards and all these things, like sometimes you look at that and say, well, maybe bankruptcy would be the best, or I could work really hard without a guarantee that it's going to work, and hopefully overcome the mess. But
so I would
uh
absolutely get advice, Tim.
well, I'm not, yeah, I guess I'm just saying about like other people too that might be in the situation. So if you yourself have gone through it, that's great. Saying that you wish you didn't, I think, is also great, because
I'll
some
tell you.
people.
So for everybody listening, yourself, myself included, anybody, any of your students that come in, when we go to somebody and we go to a bankruptcy attorney, their job is to sell us on bankruptcy, right? And to look at the situation, and go, yeah, we could bankrupt this. You're not going to have any problems. It's going to cost this, and here we go. And don't worry about it. You can, people file all the time, and they're going to sell us on it. And that's one person's opinion, right? But if we don't learn about it, I knew nothing about bankruptcy. I just took the guy's advice. He was my attorney for I was referred to him by my attorney for the company, for my business. And so I just trusted him. And I really didn't know. Honestly, personally, I only had like, I don't remember, maybe 30 grand of debt. And a lot of it was with the business. And then I had business personal guarantees and stuff, but they would have never come after me. I mean, the world was crashing around anyway. They weren't going to worry about some guy who owes them a couple hundred grand to Nike Bauer and these huge companies I had these personal guarantees to for, and I didn't know any better. We filed bankruptcy based on the fact that I was going to possibly get sued down the road, that they could come after me 7 years from then. But anyway, the point is that what you're saying is I agree. I would find out what your options are and restructure. You're right. Not everybody wants to work. You could do so much better too. Like if you think about it, you weigh the options, and I don't mean you, Tim, I mean it in general to everybody. If you work all this time and you go to pay back all your debt or fix all the problems that happened, you could wipe it or fix it immediately and then work all that hard again and build it all back up and be able to have so much more flourishing that you can give back so much more, right? Instead of you trying to, it's not a moral thing, I don't think, but I think we got to get educated and we got to get a couple opinions and kind of see what our options are. And maybe there's a blend of both: work really hard, pay off some debt, eliminate some. And I got to tell you, the market is, you're right, Tim. I mean, the market is weird. And I think it's political. I think we all love, I don't know if we all love Trump, but most of us love Trump on this call. But he's doing a lot of amazing things, but he's also causing a lot of problems. Like there's a lot of opposition. There's a division in the country. There's the media. makes it difficult, and people are still afraid, and the interest rates are not dropping. That could be, I mean, I don't even know. Even though the Fed just dropped the rate again, there's this, they drop the rate and then everybody doesn't lend. It's kind of a, you know, there's so there's so much uncertainty. I don't know what it is. And so the markets clearly are not. They're just normal markets, if they are. So correct or not, they're not going up like they were. There's some areas that are good. And so it is harder. I don't know, harder is the right word. It's a different thing. So you're 100% right. When you're selling a $400,000 house and you sell it for 10,000 or 10% less, that's 40 grand. The average flip in Utah is 42,000. So there goes your entire profit. And then if you hold it an extra 2 months and you put an extra 10 grand into it for costs, you're upside down 40 grand before you blinked an eye. You know what I mean? And that's only a 4-6 month flip. That's not uncommon. I'm talking, one of my buddies is a huge hard money lender. He makes 7 to 10% a month on money. Literally a loan shark. And he sees it, he's got multimillionaires, that are borrowing money from him just to sustain multi-million-dollar projects. But yet you look at Phoenix and there's 25 projects being built, actually now 27 projects being built in Phoenix, in the Phoenix metropolitan area. 25 projects that are over $1 billion, right? Like the largest one is the second and third chip plant from Korea that are 60 billion. Two $60 billion projects being built in Arizona, in Maricopa County. And then as little as there's a single resort, a single owned private family. This guy that had a construction company out of I think it's out of Idaho. His dad was a big guy, started the company, and he's this heir to this construction company. So he built that Mexican style resort by the Glendale Arena, State Farm Arena in Glendale, Arizona. And it's $1 billion too. It's just amazing. I don't, so there's a ton of money, but I can't explain the market right now. Go ahead, Tim. Yeah. So it's interesting.
There we go. Okay. I was like, oh shoot. Yeah. So I mean, yeah. So for those of you who are listening, it is it is a funny market. I kind of feel like it depends. There's less buyers on the market, but yeah, there are also because so it's kind of it's like the inverse of what was going on in 2020, 2021, I feel like, where people are staying home, but it's for a different reason. And so like there's like I feel like prices were a little high before, and now they're kind of they're correcting a little bit, but I don't see I can't foresee a huge drop because once people don't want to move. I'm like, if somebody has equity in their home, if it's not going to sell for what they want, they're just going to hold on to it and just stay and cancel their plans for whatever they want to and wait for things to change. And so at least that's what the sentiment is this week or like this quarter. It's been kind of like that. So people haven't really been saying it's time to it's time to go, or it's time to make huge drops in the market. And so, but I do see a lot of like higher priced homes. They are taking the big discounts, but the lower priced homes, they're actually either staying the same or they're even being bid up because, it's the people who can buy, the people who are, you see the people who have money who can buy and they're fine with paying they want to buy their nice home, or it's the people who need to buy and price is the factor. And so they're willing to buy low.
Correct. I would agree. There are two or three markets. I think that there's a lot of opportunity, but there's not much housing in the first home market, the lower end market. And so some of those people are still priced out at, 250 to 400,000. And then you've got the second homeowners who are what you're talking about. If they can't get the loan based on the interest rates and the down payment, they're and sell their house to be able to upgrade to the $1 million house or the $800,000, whatever it is, that second home price range, depending on the areas. But in Phoenix and Scottsdale and the greater area there, for us, anything, that 2 million plus range, 2 to 5, 7 million luxury homes, they're selling cash and they're not really taking discounts. They're selling pretty quickly. There's a lot of money in that market that isn't affected by interest rates because they're not really borrowing money. If they are, they're not borrowing a ton of it, and they'll probably refinance it. They probably use it for tax purposes, whatever it is that they're even getting but it's a jumbo loan at that point, and the jumbo loans, are not a problem for them to qualify for, and they put a large down payment down, if not the whole thing in cash. So it's that second home that we're talking about where there is a lot of inventory. There are less buyers just because they're choosing not to buy, or they're just not qualifying quite there based on the rates. And so those middle homes are selling. I've had one for a year that I'm sitting on that hasn't sold. Yep.
I have a question.
Yep.
So with the way the market is now, so purchasing properties like, let's just say, to rehab and then to go do the comparisons, it's kind of really hard because a lot of the comparisons, they're not even rehabbed at all. So it's like, where do you get your comparison? Do you go down like 20% on the purchase so that you know what you're picking up?
Well, I think the best way to do it would be to use Chris Wilson's blend of comparisons. And so
Mhm.
I would go within that area. I would pick every house. I would go with like 6 or 7 comps and go back as far. I wouldn't go out farther. I would go back in time farther to get those comps. And I would get 6 or 7 solds, pendings, and for sale actives. I would take those 18 like properties, and I would divide them, right? I would divide the price per square foot on the actives, divide by 6, do the same for pending and do the same. And then you have 3 different price per square foots. Add those 3 price per square foots, divide that by 3, and that should be your resale. It's probably going to be lower than what you would normally list it for, but that would be a relatively conservative listing price for your after repair value on your property. So you're going to be using some that are rehab and most that aren't, and that's going to bring down your ARV. So that'll help you buy the property a little bit more correctly. Did you understand that formula?
Yeah, so the sold, active, and under contract, and then I go back. How would you say, like 120 days if max?
I would say at least maybe I would go back as far as you need to go back to get 6 or 7 comps in solds and 6 or 7, pending. If they're obviously you can't go back in pending and active, so you have to go out farther. But on solds, I would go back. I wouldn't go out farther, and I wouldn't change the like property. Like I wouldn't go 2-story to 1-story, or I
Yeah.
wouldn't go 2-bedroom to 4-bedroom. But I would go like property and go back in time up to 6 months to try to find 6 or 7 comps in that small area that are sold. I would even perhaps get more solds, maybe 10, and go with 6 or 7 active and 6 or 7 pending. But make sure you get that variety to bring down your ARV price. Average all 3 categories, then add those 3 price per square foot categories up, divide by 3, and that should be your ARV price per foot.
So then divide it by 3. But then you said, so what was the 12 times? I was trying to write it down, but you
No,
said
that's okay. So I was comping property right now. That's difficult, right? And we're looking at I'm guessing we're looking, 200. Realistically, we're looking at 250, 300,000 minimum to 4, 5, $600,000 resale in that area. That's the toughest spot, right? Even up to $1 million. in some of like the greater Salt Lake areas or in Phoenix areas. So in order to get those comps, I would go on the solds. I would go from, solds are 30 days old. So you go back 6 months if you had to. And I would get 10 solds of like comps, but I
Okay.
need to stay in the area. I don't want to go like, if I'm in 85016 in Phoenix, I don't want to go to 85018 unless it's right on the border of 85018 as a comp. I want to stay in 85016.
Mhm.
But if I can't find 10 solds in the last 3 months, I've got to go back 4 or 5 or 6 months for solds, right? And
Mhm.
then um and then I would get and then I would take those 10 comps, price per square foot sold. So let's say it's sold at in today's market $400 a square foot. And then you add up all 10, you're going to get this large price per square foot and then divide by 10, and that's that one. And then you go in the pending, you get 5 or 6 or 7 pendings, 5 or 6 or 7 actives. You have 3 columns. You add up those square foots, divide by 5 or 6. These
Mhm.
active square foots, add them all up. 350, 280, 289s, 379, 410. Add them all up, divide by 7 or 8 or 6 or 7, however many comps you used. And that's your pending square foot, your active square foot, and your sold square foot. Add those 3 up and then divide that by 3.
Okay.
That's a very broad, and it typically brings your ARV down to, you'll probably sell it for more. You'll probably list it for more. But at the very least, it's where your negotiating price is. So if you know that's your average price per square foot for active in the next 90 days, because when you're going to be selling it, but probably, unfortunately, you buy in property right now, you're going to be selling it next spring. You're going to be selling it in February or March by the time you're
Yeah.
done with the 60 or 90-day remodel. So you're going to have a great time to sell, and it might go up, and we might get another interest rate drop in the January. We might even see one in December. But again, with inflation, even though they're dropping the Fed rate, the banks aren't really dropping the APRs, right? So it's kind of weird the way they're messing with us. We might get through and have some sort of reprieve from the republic, from the public, from the politics come the turn of the year. And then we'll go into this spring. But we're not going to anticipate that at all. We're going to go off this conservative number. So when we're buying a property in November and December of this year, we are using that conservative ARV. So we're going to have to buy it a little lower. We're going to have to negotiate a little better. We're going to have to search a little harder or not buy from a wholesaler. We're going to have to buy it from the direct from the seller.
So another question.
Yep.
So right now I found quite a few short sales. Do you think this is the time to pick up on those short sales?
Well, anytime's good for short sale. Short sales have been around for as long as people been giving each other land back in the days of Game of Thrones, right? Hey, I can't pay you for I can't pay you what I owe you. So what's our next negotiation, right? So you go back to the lender. So the only thing I don't know much about, I haven't done a short sale in 5 years, I think. And I understand now that short sales. So the way I used to do them is I'd go directly to the bank. I would go directly to the seller. I would get the deed of trust. I would have to watch the short sales class again and see what Brian Sump is doing or send him an email. But I understand that you have to be licensed as an agent, or you have to be a lawyer, or you have to have a mortgage license to negotiate a short sale on behalf of an owner with the bank. I'm not sure. There might even be a form that the owner can sign, but I'm not positive of that. So I haven't negotiated a short sale directly with a lender anymore because of the rule change. So I think short sales are great. I think if you're coming up with someone that is in a short sale situation, the good news about short sales is the formulas haven't changed. If you have an FHA loan, they'll still take up to an 18% discount in today's market on the value. So the way you win a short sale is you win the BPO and you get the right lender. A conventional loan will go up to 12%, I think. So but it's off the ARV or off the BPO value. So if the real value of the house in today's market, as is condition, is 100 grand, And that's what it comes in at. You can get an FHA lender will without circumstances, unless you have to go to special circumstances, will discount that loan if they owe 100 and it's worth 100, or let's just say they owe 180 and it's worth 100, you can get that house for 82. But that's only an 18% discount at best. So if it's worth 100, you've got to meet the BPO at the property and you've got to get the value to come in at 90 or 85. And then you get an 18% discount on that. Now you've created a 25, 30% discrepancy between the as is value of today's market and the actual price you're buying it for. So if that made sense, I can go back through that. But I used to be able to do that because I would meet the BPO. I didn't put a lockbox on the house. If there was one and it was for sale, I would take it off. I would have the realtor remove it. So the only way for the agent to get into the house is me to turn the key. And so the agent that's doing the BPO would come in there and I would say the price 18 times. And then I'm like, if we don't buy this house at 82,000, then they're going to go into foreclosure and no one's ever going to buy this house and everybody loses, right? And I would just make stuff up all the day long and I would drop down the BPO. And then I would go back to the bank and I would go to get, when I'm negotiating and making my offer and they see my offer comes in at, on $100,000 value, I'm just using that as an easy number. And my offer is 75,000. But I know when the BPO comes back in and it comes in at 80 instead of 100 when it's really worth 100, but I got them down to 80. Now I can get another 18% off of that. Go ahead, Tim. You're muted. There you
Every
go.
time. Every time.
There you go.
Just if you don't mind, I just wanted to go back to that question you're talking about with or adding my 2 cents to what you were talking about in terms of trying to find the price, what your rehab is going to look like in an area. One thing that I would say, because I've done, I've got like 20, I've got like 15 going on right now. And the ones that I feel like that aren't working out as where I wanted it to, it has to do with the area. What area am I in? And so if you just want to first take a look at that, for example, I have one in, actually I had two in Ogden, which is a not the best area, but I made these properties, me and my partner, we remodeled these properties to make them look amazing. And that would have been great if we did them in like Holiday or if we did them in like a much nicer neighborhood. But because the neighborhood is doesn't doesn't work out in that neighborhood. Sorry, I'm going crazy. I would just make sure to see like what is it that you're trying to do, because maybe what the
I
comps
totally
are
agree.
telling you. Yeah, because maybe
There's
what the
no
comps are
question.
telling you is
If you were
maybe all it
moving
needs
your
is just a
family,
broom sweep.
yep, Tim, if you think about it, if you were moving your family and you could buy a brand new fixed up house in a neighborhood you never want to live in, you just would not, the schools aren't good or the area is too far from work, whatever the case is, or
Yeah,
your spouse or yourself is going, well, we could fix this one up. Let's go buy this house. It's a little bit smaller, it's a little bit less desirable, but it's in the place we want to live. They're going to take that same amount of money and go buy a lesser house in a better neighborhood
yeah,
and they'll fix it up later or sell it. Plus, it's an appreciating neighborhood. It's the same thing with Phoenix. I couldn't agree more. Unless, like, there's certain pockets of Phoenix where certain people will live, and the Hispanics will fix and flip in Maryvale, and the Hispanics will live in Maryvale, and some mixed families will live there, right? But
yeah.
and it's a great neighborhood, even though it's one I would never live in, right? So, yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah,
Last
so
question. Yeah.
yeah,
Hi, Tim.
so to go into that, kind of what I'm taking home is perhaps right now, and kind of this is kind of my 2 cents as a flipper in today's market. Perhaps you want to focus on price. Again, it depends on the area that you're at. If it's over in like Holiday, whatever area, people want beautiful stuff. Or
Murray.
they want Murray. It's kind of middle ground. So if you're looking in that area, perhaps people want to buy like it's either they want a perfect home at a cheap price, or they want a home that they can work into, but they got a really screaming deal. And so I would kind of put like as a disclaimer, that's just my thoughts. And so if you're buying into it, perhaps all you need to do is just make it livable. And like I've done that to 2 homes already, and I made 32K on one and 40K on the other, and all I did was spend was one of them was just like, or we spent 30 grand on one, but that was because it was like 20K in cleaning, was cleaning it up because of had so much junk on there that was 10K, or even 15K. And then another like the other part was decontamination.
Oh yeah.
And
Okay.
so, and then after that, it was just make it livable, like, put a toilet here, carpet, paint, replace the floorings, paint the cabinets. And so if you kind of look at it, so I would always look at my throw my comps in 3 ways. One is like a full rehab, one is a mid, and one is just a hotel, or just a broom sweep, or just a fix what needs to be fixed and then put it on, and see what my numbers in the neighborhood look like. Again, I'm not trying to cite like what and yeah, and also if you're trying to kind of take a shot in the dark and doing a good remodel, um and seeing what you could potentially look for, absolutely follow what they had did. And I don't know about, okay, Sugar House is a nice neighborhood. Depends on what part, but like Sugar House, a lot of people like it used to be just like a regular kind of like a run-of-the-mill neighborhood, but now it's a very high-end area, Sugar House, and so you've got to do it right, or put it on the market at a price where people can buy into it so they can make it right themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Tim,
That's Josiah.
Tim and Bill. This is Celeste. I'm still navigating this deal that I have. And I was talking to a flipper broker who's done a lot of homes. And yesterday he was like really cautioning me. The situation you just mentioned, that, you had a house with a, maybe $20,000 clean out. The quotes I got for a clean out were 25 and 30. Now, I believe that we can certainly get it done for a better price. But the question is, how can I really know the scope of work? I mean, I know it's a mess and there's broken pipes and all sorts of things, but you can't navigate the property with all of the stuff in there, literally. And so, I mean, the neighborhood's fantastic. There's a house very close, less than a mile away, that was listed for $499, and it's already contingent after 30 days. So I have no problem at all with the neighborhood. As I mentioned previously, all of the houses on that same street to the right of it are all at 430. Now I'm still in process of getting this contract, agreement for deed, articles for deed, roughly at about 100,000. But I guess I'm just looking for, after he's like cautioned me, I still have several people to talk to, Tierney and so forth. But I guess he kind of put a little fear in me, like it's going to take a lot longer. I mean, we already know, I mean, it's not going to be coming on the market till February or March, but he was just like, oh, you've got the mold and all these other unexpected delays. Anyway, just kind of looking for your wisdom as I'm navigating this, if there's even a question in there.
Um, um,
So, okay, so the first question would be,
Go ahead, Tim.
how do you like?
well, are you okay, Bill? Like if I answer this, or but Bill, I would say Bill's. I mean, I've done it too, but but Bill, he's probably got some good ideas.
Go ahead.
I would always assume the worst in
Yeah.
something like that, and so like you're replacing everything. You're remodeling, like it's a complete. If you can't even get in the home, then they need to get you like their lowest number, and because if you're gonna have to redo everything, um, based on the numbers, it could be $75 a square foot, and but add all the on top of that add like HVAC roof repair, or let's see, like the main
All
things.
of it.
Yeah,
Plumbing.
electrical. Yeah. So
So is somebody living
try.
in the house?
I was kind of loosely ballparking it based on Bob Tierney's property of about 3,300 square foot. He said he put 180,000 in. So I was figuring 180 plus, 20% raise 220,000. And the seller is going to hold the financing until sale.
Is someone living in the house?
No, no, no. You can't even navigate through the house. I know pipes have burst because I did the FOIA and all the ceilings fell in. It's a total hoarder house. The quotes for the clean out were 25 and 30,000. I know I'll get it down for less, but he was just like really cautioning me. I don't have any concerns. Huh?
What was he cautioning you on?
Just, all the unexpected things I'm not seeing. You're going to hold it longer. I mean, I am certainly going to hold it through the winter, but I guess, I don't know, him just kind of cautioning me. He's done a lot of different things. And I was already thinking of all of this, like literally all of the HVAC, electric, pipes, every single
Yep,
thing in the
everything.
house. Maybe not every wall, but everything needs to be replaced.
So
I
when
got,
Bobby T put 180,000, did he do all that stuff?
well, he didn't have burst pipes that I know of. I mean, they just did a beautiful quality job.
Right.
Although that property's for 9.25 right now, it's still sitting at the moment. But
So Tim, you're saying it's $75 a foot cosmetically?
Well, that's for a deep remodel. Let me double check. How much square footage is that property? What's the square footage of yours?
I'm at 3318. Now that I think that also that includes like the lower level. So it's like a basement, a lower level.
Yeah,
Like
I think you're solid. At $3,350 a foot, that's 150,000 cosmetics at $50 a foot, which is pretty nice cosmetics. Even in today's pricing, $50 a foot is pretty good cosmetics. It's, that's, quartz and good cabinets. That's everything, right? And then you add in, if you have to put a roof on there, on 3,300 foot, you're probably looking at 10 grand. I mean, it's probably 8, but and then you put in, let's just say you had to do electric, plumbing, and HVAC, and you're going to have 2 units and you got duct work. So you're probably looking at 10 grand in HVAC. You're probably looking at 10 grand in plumbing, 10 grand in electric. I don't know if you got to change the panel, add another 5 grand. Um, and, uh, and so even if you add another 50,000, you're at 200,000, right? So first of all, I don't like anybody scaring me out of my own job, right?
yeah, I was getting scared.
So, well, and I don't blame you, but what I'm saying is they're not doing it, right? And so everybody can warn everybody, but he has no idea. And I don't disagree with what Tim said about necessarily thinking the worst, but
Well,
the way
yeah,
It is the worst though. It's a pretty
and
bad
I take that
situation.
back, but I would still say, just on my thing, I would see how the numbers work if it's at $75 a square foot. The bigger it is, it might change a little bit because the smaller ones like 2,000 or less, you're it's only a little bit more to kind of add more like electrical, like just if it's 3,000 square feet.
so
But if you're so it's not quite, but 75 I think would cover everything and then some.
so here's
Oh, okay.
the math is
But
this.
that's me.
If the house is going to sell for $500,000,
Let's say 430 to be conservative. And yes, I do believe, and so did my attorney, believed, wow, you could really get some, but I don't want to bank on high.
430 is a lot different than 500.
Well,
That's like your entire profit.
mm,
So
yeah,
all right,
430 is
you
right in
want
line
to
with
do
all the houses
430, if
already.
you want to do 430 and it
Okay.
costs you 6% to sell the house, right? 1% and 5%, right? If it costs you 6% to sell at 430, right? It's $30,000 to sell the house. So you're at 400, right? And if you buy for 100, you're at 300.
Mhm.
It costs you 250 to fix it and carry it. You still make 50 grand at 430. right? If it costs you 200,000, 225,000 to fix the house and $25,000 to carry it for 6 months, which it shouldn't at owner financing, and you get private money at 10, 12%, whatever you're getting your private money at, your equity partner, 6 months on 10% of 200 grand would be $10,000 in carrying costs, right? So if you give them 20% for 6 months, it's $20,000 in carrying costs at 20% interest on 200,000. And you're going to raise a little bit more, so 250, right? So, uh, so the only thing that you're going to lose is profit. But buying this house at $100,000, even if it sells at 400,000, there's no, you could strip it you could strip it, you could put even new trusses on the damn thing, right? And still make some money. It just depends on what you want to make. Now, if it's only going to sell for 430, I would be conservative on how I fix it. Like what cosmetics I do. I would try to get my cosmetic remodel. You can't avoid plumbing, electric, trusses. If you need a new roof, HVAC, you put in a new air conditioner and all that kind of stuff. You can't avoid that. That's the cost. You get two, three bids, or you got a regular guy you go with, right? But you can choose your flooring. You don't have to put $3 a foot flooring in there. You can choose your quartz. Even though it's quartz, there's quartz slabs that are $500 and quartz slabs that are $2,000, right? So maybe you don't get the one with the gray veins going through it that everybody else has. You get more of a plain white with a little bit of speck in it, right? And then, paint's paint. You're going to paint for $2 a foot, whatever it is. But your light fixtures still look good from Lowe's, and you don't get them from a lighting store. Or you get them from Amazon on off-brand, and you hope that you don't have, you can always return them if they're crappy. Amazon will take them back, right? But you get it at the end, so you got 30 to 60 days to return it on Amazon. So you just have to control your spending on your cosmetics, and you can still win. But if it sells anything over 430 and you get up to 460, 470, 475, I mean, that's just money in your pocket. So really, the only thing you have to worry about you're buying the property at 25 cents on the dollar at 400,000. There's no better deal on the planet.
Okay. All right. All right.
Unless someone gives you that house for free, there's no better deal on the planet. The only thing you got to make sure is if it's going to sell for over 400.
It will, no doubt about it. I mean,
there's
it's
no way
fantastic neighborhood.
300 square feet, even at it, I don't know how it would be $100 a foot to fix the house. You would have to, it doesn't even make sense. That would be
Okay, I wasn't sure about repair square footage. So it's $75 a square foot. That's good, because it's like the first floor is like the first floor is what is it? Like 2212 per square foot on the first floor. So there I want like higher end wood floors, beautiful kitchen, all of that. On the English basement, ground floor, where there's a second fireplace, I'm going to put like an LTV, still beautiful, but certainly less cost. And then there's apparently a basement, which there I'm just going to basically spray it, the floor, the walls, the ceiling, it's clean. And that's that. The outdoors, it's been sitting empty for 5 years. So I have to assume the worst, that everything needs to be repaired. And I know your numbers are right on with, $10K for the HVAC and the electric. And so I guess, he kind of scared me a little bit, but the fact that it's 2.5 minutes from my house, I know and love the neighborhood. I see the comps. I'm going to go do all of the numbers again today just to, build back my confidence. After hearing him, I was like, oh no, what am I getting myself into? But it's really the perfect time.
The biggest thing is, what are you will, even if you're willing to work for a little bit of money, so you get an experience and it's right next to your house. It's not like you're driving across Chicago at 5:00.
Yeah.
So then it's worth it to you. Whatever's worth it to you, because the worst case scenario is, let's say you make $5,000 a month for 6 months. You make 30 grand on the deal. Yeah, you spent 200, but you still made 30 grand. Was it worth it? You don't know. Maybe you won't do it again, but now you'll know. But in the meantime, if you're okay with that, now, best case scenario, you could make 130 grand.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I think you're going to be closer to that than the other side, right?
Yes.
Even
Yes.
if it's worst case scenario. Now, Tim, like I said, I don't there's no way it's costing I mean, unless you really got to get more bids then. But I would ask Bobby and just say, hey, when you put 180 grand in, not only did you, I see your cosmetics, what else did you have to do to the house? And if he says, well, I put in a roof and I put in, but I didn't have to redo the plumbing. I mean, you can tell right there. But I mean, you've got $250,000 of remodel, put you at 350, right? And
Yeah.
if you only carry the house and it costs you 20,000, even if you add 25,000 in carrying costs for 6 months, which is exorbitant, you probably won't have that much. You're at 375 and it's 30, it'll be 25,000 to sell. You still make 30,000 at 430. And that's 250 remodel.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that sounds pretty solid.
It's pretty solid.
Yeah. Okay.
And that's if you only sell it for 430. And if you truly have a comp at 499 pending in 30 days and you're going to be selling it next spring, even if the market goes down 10%, you're still selling it at 450.
Mm-hmm. Because
And the odds
people
of the
want.
market going down 10% in 6 months is extraordinarily rare unless Donald Trump gets shot or something, knock on wood. I mean, I don't even know. I don't even know what it would take. We'd have to go to war. I don't even know.
Yeah. Well, this is this is over an acre, which obviously is very desirable. And these are 1 acre, a little over an acre each lot. So, yeah. So anyway, okay, I'll keep you posted and I'm going to drill down on those numbers, talk to Bob and
Cool.
yeah. So thank you guys. Appreciate your confidence boosting.
Yeah.
And Tim, for a little bit, I was thinking of hosting, but I hate to pass up the opportunity because of fear, which was getting the best of me yesterday after hearing him tell me all these red flag things. But
Well,
thank
remember,
you.
you could do like 50 property tours while you're
That's
holding
right.
it and
Yeah.
make $1 million in marketing. Let's go, guys.
Yes. 100%. That is so true. And yes, I do have that
And
factor.
that's what Bobby T did. He told me last summer he did a deal. He made like 90,000 on the property, but he made 200,000 in marketing by doing property tours.
Mm-hmm. Totally true.
So, yeah,
Thank you.
use
And
the
he's still
opportunity we have
holding
there,
that
guys.
property, by the way. He's doing it as a midterm.
Say it again.
He's still holding on that property as a midterm rental.
Oh, and now it's making him money. All right then.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
20 combo.
That's what he said. 200,000, not sold 20 combos, but he taught his team to bring guests. So they probably made even more as a team, but he said in that time period he brought in 200,000 in marketing. Probably 100 himself and then 100 from like qualifying and overrides.
Yeah, very. And people will be very impressed with this because of the extreme contrast of the condition it's in today to what it will be in the end. So, and I was already getting it's who do I become as a result of it as well, because I was already getting ideas of becoming more of a home builder, listening to your class, Bill, reflecting back on Heather Herring, knowing my super preferences and what I really like. So, I mean, it's just a rich resource and inspiration. It's kind of like, the diamond's got to go up to the drill in order to get its facets. So it's like, oh God, this is it. So I'm excited and a little nervous and scared, but we get through it, right?
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
Yep, exactly. Well, you're on the right path, and we'll be there as you keep taking steps in the right direction. And everybody else, be inspired, take some action, go watch your classes. Come to Super Saturday, and then remember we got the title closing and escrow recording live class at the end of the month. So add it to your calendar, focus on what you want, stay focused, and spread the good word. Thanks, Bill. You rock. Tim, thanks for chiming in, everybody.
Yeah, thanks everybody
You
for
guys are
chiming
awesome.
in. Yep.
Have a
Thank
wonderful
you.
day.
Bye, guys.
Bye, you guys.
Thank you, Bill.